Welcome back to Talking with Tatum, and we're in another series of interviewing our county commissioners. And today we have Commissioner Kenny Reich, who's joined us. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy day to be here.
No problem. Glad to do it, baby.
Well, you know, it's what we're trying to do with this is try to feature each of our 25 county commissioners, let them tell a little bit about their background, where they grew up, and what possessed them to decide to get on the county commission to run for public office. Mm-hmm. So if you would, first of all, tell us which district you represent.
I represent the 6th District, which is the northeast section of Wilson County.
And do you go all the way to the Cumberland River?
I do. I actually go from the left side of Rogers Road off Hartsville Pike all the way to the Trousdale County line around to the right side of Man Road, big district.
So it's a really good sized district. Hunters Point.
Right, got all
and
Hunters
Carroll
Point.
Oakland schools
all
out there.
That, yes,
and
sir.
What about Taylorsville and Centerville?
I have Taylorsville, have half of Taylorsville.
Half of Taylorsville.
The other half is Chris Dowles.
Okay. Well, that gives us an idea about what geographical area we're talking about. But tell us a little bit about you, where you grew up, and things that are interesting, what you did for a career, and your family.
Okay. I was born in Wilson County. I was born in Lebanon in 1948. My father, a lot of people knew my father. My father was Joe Reich. Mm-hmm. Served on the police department here after the war. Came back and worked for the Lebanon Police Department for probably maybe 15 years. Then he went to work the state for the Alcoholic Beverage Commission. That's where he retired. My mother was a Clemens, Lucille Clemens.
And did she have one M or two in her name?
It was two.
So she had the 2M Clemens.
Yeah, right. She was a 2M Clemens.
And what did your mama do?
She was a homemaker, and later on, after I left home, she went to work for the school system and worked in the cafeteria at Highland Heights.
All right. Mm-hmm. Any brothers or sisters?
I got one brother. Bobby Joe Rich, everybody knows him, but B.J. Rich lives up in the edge of Smith County, and that's my only sibling.
But you've got some children.
I've got 3 kids. I have 3. I have Tiffany, which is Tiffany Bevis now. I have Kendra, which is now Kendra Schaefer, and lives in Lawrence County.
Okay.
And Summertown, and then Jeremy. A lot of people around here know Jeremy, my son Jeremy Rich. Did work for the Sheriff's Department for a number of years, but now he's one of the training instructors at the Tennessee Law Enforcement Academy in Nashville.
And their mama?
Their mama is Donna. She was a Freeman. Her father was Jerry Freeman, owned M&M Wine and Company, and we've been married 50 years this year.
Well, congratulations
well, thank
on
you.
that. A lot of people can't
no,
make
that's a milestone now.
And but grew up in Lebanon, born in 1948. I guess you went to Lebanon High School.
I went to Lebanon High School, graduated in 1966.
And when you got out of high school, that was right during the height of the Vietnam War.
Right.
And tell us about that. What were you going to do for a career? And,
Okay. Well, I actually joined the Tennessee Army National Guard when I was a senior in high school. And I went to Fort Knox for basic training and my training and everything in early 1966, or excuse me, 1967, after I'd graduated in 66. And at the time I was working for State Farm Insurance in Murfreesboro.
What were you doing?
I was an underwriter
Okay.
and the property and casualty department there. And there was a job come open to be the unit administrator to run the Lebanon Armory. Mm-hmm. And I put in for it, and I was fortunate enough to be hired. So I worked for the Tennessee Army National Guard and ran the Lebanon Armory for 30 years.
And the Lebanon Armory at that time was on 231.
It was on 231. I stayed at 231 for like 6 years, and then we built the new armory next to the airport runway on Level Pike, and that's where I retired from.
And you had 30 years in the
30 years full time working for the Guard.
During that 30-year period of time, did you have any deployments?
I deployed in 2003, early 2003. To Baghdad, Iraq, for Operation Iraqi Freedom, and stayed in Baghdad, came home in August of '04. So we were there 15 months.
And anything you want to share with that experience? Because by that time, you were getting close to retirement.
I turned 55 in Baghdad. You have to retire at age 60.
Right.
So I was, and I was getting close to retirement. I had 5 more years after I came home, but it was a hard time, especially when we went.
Right.
Because the buildings weren't. We moved into a burned out building, and that's where we lived till they actually built it back up. No windows, no doors. Of course, didn't have air conditioning or anything. I told a lot of people. We got air conditioning on the first day of September of '03. We got windows and doors on the 15th day of September. But it was hard times, but it was very hot. But I'm glad we went when we did.
Right.
There was a lot going on. Used to constantly dodging mortar shells because we'd get mortared about every night. Mortared or a rocket, would hit, the building about every night. So, but I'm glad we went, and I'm glad, that's something that was hard times, but I wouldn't take anything for doing it.
Well, I had a lot of responsibility being over the local armory and having
Yeah.
a deployment that many years. You retired at what rank?
I retired as Master Sergeant, E5.
Okay.
Well, First Sergeant actually, E8.
Okay, well that's awesome, and thank you
Yeah.
for your service in doing that.
Thank you.
And any other hobbies or interests that you have?
I have a lot of hobbies. I used to hunt arrowheads a lot, but now they've done away with tobacco patches, so there's nowhere really to hunt arrowheads anymore. So, did a lot of reenactments, like the French early settler reenactments when they first settled Middle Tennessee. I did that with my brother, and he still does a little of it. But we would dress up, go to Bledsoe, go to places in Smyrna, Tellico, a lot of different places to do reenactments.
So you have a lot of interest in history. And,
Yes, I'm a history buff.
and Lebanon, of course, is celebrating its 200th anniversary of
Right.
existence. And so you probably have a better insight than a lot of people as to what may have been like 200 years ago.
Well, I don't know about 200 years ago, but I can definitely remember the axe handle factory down on.
Well, I didn't mean about you remembering Lebanon.
Oh, yeah.
I was reenacting
Yeah.
about what
Oh, yeah.
about people having to cook over a fire.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
And various subsistence living.
Right.
But been a county commissioner now for how long?
I'm in my 4th term. It'd be 13 years, a little over 13 years.
And had that been something that you had thought about over time about running for public office? Had that been something?
Well, I'll tell you when I decided. I actually, Jeff Joins.
Yes, sir.
That was a commissioner for 12 years, 3 terms. Jeff and I were in Baghdad together. And Jeff would always come to our room at night, and we'd my room, we'd sit around and talk and whatever. And we kind of decided, Jeff and I decided in Baghdad, and probably '03, that we were going to come home and run for county commissioners in '06. And we both ran, and both of us fortunate enough to be elected. And but that's when I decided I want to be on the county commission. Never gave a whole lot of thought to it, but Jeff, how he
Yeah.
talks.
Yeah.
So
He's one of those guys, enthusiasm
Oh,
is,
yeah, he is
is kind of an
enthusiastic.
understatement.
right. So that's when we decided to run. I always liked to work with people, and I really enjoyed campaigning. Now, it's a lot of people say don't enjoy campaigning, but I really enjoyed campaigning. And one of the big things made up my mind, and I don't know if I ought to say this or not, but I really felt like Mount Juliet should furnish their own fire protection instead of Wilson County, furnishing
Right.
for them. And that was one of the real big things that I ran on, was them to step up and do their own fire protection. And now that they have done that, I think they are really glad they did. Fixing to build a new fire station down there now.
Well,
Excuse me.
People who have moved to the area or may not recall, Wilson County, WEMA,
Right.
was providing all the fire
They was.
protection for Mount Juliet.
That's correct.
And that was a cost that all county residents were paying. Of course, Mount
Right.
Juliet was paying their share as well. And so I guess that's one of the things, looking back on your tenure on the county commission, that's something that you feel like
That's
you were
one thing I
instrumental.
really worked for in the first term, is to, put forth a resolution that they would do their own fire protection.
Now, that may have rubbed some people the wrong way, because if you if you
It
have
probably,
something.
it really rubbed the people the people that were in power in Mount Judy, it really rubbed them the wrong way. But like I said, looking back, hindsight, I think they're all glad that that's something they stepped up and did.
Coming onto the county commission with no prior political experience,
Right.
what was maybe some of the things that were a big surprise to you that I didn't know it was going to be like this, or if I'd known this, I maybe wouldn't have listened to Jeff Joins and run for office. Can you think of anything like that?
No, it wasn't. That's something I always, caught on pretty quick. Had 2 or 3 people. I was lucky enough in 06 to be elected to the road commission. So I've been on the road commission ever since 06. But being on the road commission, I had Gilbert Graves, Billy Patton, and Billy Rowland.
So you had some old
So
hands.
I had some old hands, and all those three, they kind of guided me along and make sure I didn't really mess up, and make sure I knew what was going on. So I'm lucky. I was lucky to have them.
Well, it's kind of ironic you mentioned that. Part of what we're trying to do with this show is to feature folks who are currently on the county commission. And but those 3 names you mentioned, we've lost all 3 of those gentlemen.
That's right.
And they had a wealth of knowledge over the years about changes they had seen in our county
Right.
government. Speaking of changes, as we're in a big growth phase right now, what do you see are some of the big concerns for the county, say 5 years, 10 years down the road?
Well, schools is always number one thing, but I think we're in pretty good shape on schools right now. But that doesn't mean that 5 years down the road or 4 years down the road, we're going to be building more schools. The jail was a thing we had to get, and we put that mechanism in place a couple of county commission meetings ago with the adequate facility tax increase to fund the jail. And that's something that'll be coming up about March.
Anybody that's out there that's watching our show, any words of advice either about living life in general, or maybe if it's a focus on getting involved in local government, what would you like to share with them?
Well, I think everybody ought to, if they have an interest in serving people and trying to help people, I'd encourage anybody to take a look at running for county commission. When you're out campaigning, and I knock on the door of every registered voter, may not catch them all, but a lot of them I go back to see again. But I knock on, and that's something I've done for 4 campaigns. I've knocked on the door of every registered voter. And you meet a lot of people. I know a lot more people. I always thought I knew a lot of people, being from Lebanon and running the armory and everything, but there's a whole lot of people out there were from Lebanon I didn't know. But Lebanon's changing, or Wilson County's changing.
I just had a conversation with a fellow a little while ago today. He's been down here 8 years, moved from upstate New York, and he said, I won't go back.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, I love it here.
Oh, everybody I've talked to, of course, our taxes, I know a lot of people around here think their taxes are high. They're nothing compared to what it is when we get up north, and all the other taxes. And it's great. Wilson County's a great place to live. It really is.
Well, listen, thank you for joining us today. And as a commemoration, I'd like to offer you a Talkin with Tatum coffee cup.
All right, well, I appreciate it.
No tax dollars spent on that, so you can drink out of it with a good conscience.
I won't have to refill my cup in the morning. This will be one that'll take care of it.
All right. Thank you again.
All right, you're more than welcome, Judge.